And good evening. We welcome you to our first edition of the North Florida Blitz for the 2024 high school football season. We'll bring you all kinds of, we'll have a good interview with you later on for our Bill Hamill from the Panhandle. And North Florida Blitz covers Ocala to Jacksonville, all the way over to Pensacola and North Florida part of Florida, the Panhandle as well. I'm Marty Pallman, along with Joshua Wilson of Florida HS Football. And
good evening again.
Good evening again. Yes, we were just on with South Florida. Now we're on to North Florida. And Josh, this is a pretty large area we cover here, and we look forward to talking about what's going on the area. We live in here, Gainesville, Ocala. We'll talk about that, as well as we'll move up to Jacksonville and over to the Panhandle. We're going to have a lot to talk about. Also, our Pick Six coming up later. And as I said, our interview with Irish Bill Hamill, who is the voice of Navarre as well.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot going on here, and it's hard to believe. It's week 0, preseason week, as some people would call it here. And we're definitely glad that y'all are tuning in and joining us here on FloridaHSFootball.com and all the FloridaHSFootball.com social media platforms. Follow us on YouTube at Florida HS Football. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get updates when we go live or post other videos. And also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Florida HS Football, Twitter, X at FLAHS Football. And also hit that QR code you see on the top of your screen right there and download the new FloridaHSFootball.com app. That's what you can do here. Support what we're doing here, because we can't do it without you right here on the North Florida Blitz.
No, we can, and we also can't do it without Philip Crutchfield. Basically, he gives us a lot of advice. I'll just say that, but also checking us out, and also with Raymond James, Philip Crutchfield. No two of us are exactly alike. That's why you need a financial advisor with the freedom to focus on the details that make your life your own. Your family, the challenges you face, the dreams that inspire you, whatever your goals, you need an advisor who can create a plan uniquely tailored to you, all backed by the sophisticated resources of Raymond James. That's life well planned. To learn more, call financial advisor Philip Crutchfield at 352-642-8330. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, a member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC.
Yes.
All right, so we will start with a look at what's going on around high school football in North Florida as the Blitz slides. And actually, we have a story that we just happened today. We are adding to it. Tragic news out of Palatka High School, mourning the loss of Robert R.J. Gillen, who passed away in his sleep overnight. And the story, after talking to Corey Davis of the Palatka Daily News, saying that apparently he left practice yesterday and was feeling well, and then just went to sleep and unfortunately never woke up. Tragic story there in Palatka.
Yeah, it's sad to hear about this. They're seeing suspected cardiac arrest, and this comes almost a year after Palatka had another tragedy strike, and that was the cheerleader who was struck by lightning on a hunting trip. And this time now it's one of the football team, one of the members of the football team, and it's hard, and it's the Rick Cernsey, the superintendent of Putnam County Schools, said the Palatka Junior Senior High School community and Putnam County School District are deeply saddened by the recent passing of a student. That's quote by the Palatka Daily News here that we got. Yeah,
and that you're talking. Was he 17? How old? Actually, 15? Is that what it's?
Yes, 15.
Wow, I mean, 15. If it's a cardiac event and at 15 years old, I mean, it's just almost insane to think about it. But it is a really sad story to talk about. And Palatka, they're supposed to play their kickoff classic this Friday night at Terry Parker in Jacksonville. As far as we know right now, it's still on, but I guess Coach Turner was trying to make that decision. And obviously that's going to be tough for them to play that game, I would think.
I talked to Corey Davis earlier, and he said that he had postponed all practices in Putnam County, so it impacted Interlochen and Crescent City. But especially, and I'm kind of curious because Interlochen, they got a game that counts this week. So why would you take a day of practice away from them? I mean, I understand Palatka. I understand very much. You're gonna mourn the situation there, and my thoughts and prayers are out to them here on this one, because this is, you're just 3 days away from playing your kickoff classic, and now you got a situation that's much bigger than football.
Yeah, much bigger. I don't know. I think doesn't Crescent City have their first game as well? Counts?
No, that's not until next week. So they're
next week. Okay. Well, I know Interlochen's playing, as you said, Christchurch in Jacksonville. So yeah, that is a game that counts in the SSAA. But well, we wish the best to Palatka. Our condolences to them and Coach Turner as well. and we will kind of follow the story as it continues to develop. But looks like
yeah, no, we and then Kevin Stokes he mentioned we're sorry, but we had a we know it's sad and it's
this is something we need to talk about. It's very, very much breaking as today we found out about it. So yeah, I know, a little downer. We'll go up from here.
We're going up. Well, yes, we are going up from here.
We're gonna get a little. We're gonna definitely not be as serious here in a moment, and we'll be serious, but I mean not as sad, as we can talk now about the coaching changes that are coming up. The top coaching changes during the off season, and Josh, I can think of one in this area. That really wasn't much of a coaching change. It was Mark Whittemore returning to be.
It was more like it was more just like a flip flop again.
Yeah, exactly. Chuck Bell, the defensive coordinator for Mark Whittemore, was the head coach last year. He goes back to being the DC at Buchholz, and Mark Whittemore back as the head coach. And that's one instance. Also in Chiefland, Adam Gore, his third stint as the head coach there.
Yes. Now. And that's the thing we talked about at Media Day a couple of weeks ago. A lot of these coaches who are in their second stints.
Yeah, they are, and he's in his third. Mark Whittemore in his second. Santa Fe, new coach again. Jason Wells takes over there. That's some.
How about Bobby Ramsey? Andrew Jackson
up in Jackson, of course. So now he's coached at Yulee. He coached Derrick Henry there. He led Mandarin to a state title with Carson Beck. He's had some talented guys, and now we'll see how he does trying to bring that Andrew Jackson program back, a program that's been storied through the years.
And a couple other names to mention, Rick Whittington, now head coach at Dixie County, and Navarre. We'll talk about the Irish Bill there, as they have a new head coach. Just Jay Walls went back over the state line again.
Went back to Georgia?
Yes, he did.
All right. So, Jay Walls did a good job there. So Navarre having to replace him as well. You mentioned Rick Whittington. His cousin is the Bell coach, Joey Whittington, also athletic director. So, That's good to see the family there. They're both Dixie County grads.
Yes, and then we're looking at some other coaching changes that are just, along in North Florida, and then next year when we talk about coaching changes, when I'm just going ahead and preluding to next year a little bit here.
All right.
We will have one more school to talk about in North Florida, and that'll be Soundside High over in Gulf Breeze.
Soundside.
Yeah, no, it sounds like Southside, but it is Soundside.
Soundside and Gulf Breeze. All right, they're getting a new high school out there, and of course we've had a lot of those in St. Johns County too recently. Beachside, Sequoia Creek, those new schools. But let's see. We'll move on from here to
How about this? Can Hawthorne repeat as state champions? Because there's the only state champion that we have in this region to talk about.
Actually, can Hawthorne three-peat as state champions? They've won the last two. And they're going to have to do it without their quarterback.
I'm going to stop you right there for a moment, real quick, because I forgot Matt Brunson returning to Baker. Yes, and that I did let that slip as a coach.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. So Matt Brunson, of course, led Baker to the state title in 2000. In fact, one of the last teams that beat Hawthorne. They beat them in
which is perfect timing here.
Yeah, it was. So thanks to whoever that was, Philip Crutchfield, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured as much. Thanks. Glad that he's listening, of course, and. But yeah, Baker, that's a big for them as well. So now Hawthorne three-peat? They have not lost a game in 2 years. Their last loss came in the state championship game in 2021 to Madison County by a point. They beat Madison last year in a rematch. They're going to have to do it, though, without their quarterback the last 3 years. CJ Ingram is not playing football.
And then, of course, he just announced yesterday that he's committed as a basketball commit to the Florida Gators on his 17th birthday.
Quite a summer for him, and they decided, him and his dad, of course, Cornelius Ingram, CI, his father, coaches football there at Hawthorne. And basically, CI played both at Florida. He played football and basketball, but for CJ, he went to Orlando during the summer. He played down the summer league down there in AAU ball, and boy, got a lot of offers. North Carolina and Kansas were coming after. Florida was one, and he's going to be a Gator like his dad. So, but that is a big story for their football team now. But they did bring in the transfer Adrian Curtis from Eastside, so he's done a really good job leading Eastside the playoffs the last couple of years, and looks like they may have a replacement at quarterback at least. They do lose a lot of defensive players as well.
No, absolutely, and that's going to be it's going to be interesting, especially with the fact that, and we'll talk about this here right now, is that the Rural League is going to have a new playoff format this year. The FHA is testing out something, A division, B division, so we're going to see what's going to happen there in terms of how the teams in the playoffs are going to look like this year. And there's no regions in rural. It's going to be a true seeding, so in the A bracket, it's going to be 16 teams. The B, same 16 teams. The rest of the teams are just going to be left at home come playoff time. And it's going to be, hey, you're number 16. So theoretically, hey, I mean, if you're Baker, say, okay, you're Baker in the Panhandle, you're number 1 seed, and you're Pahokee, you're number 16 seed in the A bracket. Guess what? You're on the road first round.
That's right.
So
and no more 1R, no 1A. It's the rural classification. So,
indeed, it is.
But,
yes.
All right, and our last, and we have some questions to get to, so we'll get to those.
People are firing up the chat here tonight.
Yeah, they are. We'll get to that in just a moment. Our last Blitzline subject to talk about.
Well, actually, not the last.
Oh,
second
sorry,
last.
there's 2 more. Yeah, I didn't see that. But you see these teams on your screen: Bradford, Mandarin, Madison County, St. Augustine, Trinity Catholic. All were runners-up last year. Can they find a way to a state championship in 2024 after getting turned back in 2023? Bradford losing to Cocoa last year in the state final. Madison County got beat by Hawthorne. Mandarin lost to Miami Columbus. St. Augustine was beaten at the buzzer last play by Midland.
That was a heck of a game right there. I mean St. Augustine led that in game the entire time, and it was right there at the buzzer.
And then there's Trinity Catholic, who was 3-7 in the regular season. It gets a brutal schedule. And then they were about 30 seconds away from winning the state title.
But Cardinal Mooney had other plans.
Cardinal Mooney made a late drive to win. And so Trinity at 6-8 last year was a state runner-up. I think out of that group, honestly, St. Augustine has a lot of talent coming back. That's going to be a team to watch there. Mandarin as well. Mandarin's going to be pretty loaded again. And it seems like, after their state runner-up finish a year ago.
No, and, Trinity Catholic, they had Preston Wright, quarterback last year, transferred down to Cardinal Gibbons. Now he's at Chevron Amadada, so.
Wow, it's moving all over the place. But
talk about going on to the opposing sideline real quick, like.
And we'll see if Bradford can come back as well. I know they lose a lot from last year, but that's a team that's been on the upswing for Coach Rogers there. And Madison County, they're always good. I mean, unfortunately for them running into Hawthorne in the last year, but hey, Madison's always in the mix. So
no, absolutely. And with that said, here we go.
Top 10 preseason games to watch. Well,
yes.
Let's see. What do we have? Well, the game I see right at the top here, University Christian at Williston. That's a good one. Also, Trinity Christian. Is that at a Hawthorne or at Trinity?
That is actually that game is actually at Hawthorne.
That's it. Okay, I thought it was at Trinity for some reason. Okay.
No, at Hawthorne. So University Christian at Williston, Lafayette at Newberry. We'll call up Madison County. Madison County, they got a new scoreboard going in. The one that got destroyed last year by Adelia.
Adelia, yeah.
South Walton versus Mosley, and then of course Walton at Fort Walton Beach, Atlantic Coast at Beachside, St. Augustine at Ponte Vedra.
Yeah, nice St. Johns County matchup there. Ponte Vedra playoff team a year ago. Yeah, you mentioned too the hurricane, and hopefully the area in the Big Bend is recovering well from Debbie, Hurricane Tropical Storm Debbie, because of a lot of the area that got hit last year too.
Columbia at Bradford, Yulee at Inglewood, Cottondale at Bozeman, and Northview at Baker. Those are just some of the matchups there.
Got a lot of good games here for this Friday night. So,
yes, absolutely. And before we go to break, we've got some comments sitting here.
Yeah, there are a lot of them coming in.
Yes, we do have some. We do have some comments sitting here. Some of them we'll put into the question, fan question here. But some people are asking. We got. How about Choctaw High School's Justin Floyd? Choctaw. We can't forget about Choctaw, but they definitely regional finalists the last 2 years under Frank Beasley
Beasley.
So we will see how Choctaw does this year, and Vanguard is in the house. Danny Rednexula, I hope I said that right. He's like, Vanguard, what's going on, Josh? Hey, we're here.
Yeah, Vanguard state semifinals a year ago, got knocked out by Mainland.
And Chase Boogie Candy says, what about Newberry? Don't sleep on him this year. Definitely not sleeping on him. No.
Newberry's going to be really good. Can they get past Hawthorne and Williston and those teams, though? Union County, it's going to be loaded, that rural class. I'm sorry, they're in 2A now. My apologies. I forgot they moved up. So, yeah, they got a good chance to go far there in 2A.
No, absolutely. And, of course, we got a couple more here. St. John's and Duval teams are loaded this year. Man, that someone said Mandrill will probably win state as long as they stay healthy. Well, we'll see what happens. Ryan Nolan's saying that. Yep. Yes, and G. McKenzie chimes in with a loss from Bradford about Columbia this week because they got Columbia. Columbia's at Bradford.
Oh, wow. That's a good. That's another good one. That's right. That's going to be in Stark. So big game there for both those teams.
No, absolutely. I do want to address this thing. I know Kevin Stokes mentioned earlier. I do want to address this here. And it's like, we did start our first episode it's our first episode of the North Florida Blitz. It's actually our fourth show here in the last 24-hour cycle.
Yes.
So This was breaking. This was not even on our plans to put this kind of news on there. We try not to have sad news, but we wanted to
Well,
sometimes it happens.
It's a story that broke today in our area, so yeah, that's something we should report on, I guess.
And it's sad, and we definitely understand that thing. And some people are mentioning Lakeland, but if you want to for Lakeland stuff, that is going to be actually in the Gulf Coast Blitz, which actually is on Monday nights.
Yeah, we talked about them last night a lot.
Yes, we did talk about Lakeland a lot last night. But anyways, we have got a break to take here, a water break.
Yes, water break coming up.
Wrong music.
Either way, it's all rock. No, that's rock more so, it sounds like. But anyway, we will have Irish Bill Hamill coming up in the interview. Right now, a 2-minute water break, and we will return. This is the North Florida Blitz. Marty Pallman, Joshua Wilson with you tonight. You can hear us on X and Twitter, also Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll be back in a moment.
All right.
All right, welcome back to the North Florida Blitz here with Marty Pallman and Joshua Wilson on Florida HS Football as we get ready for, well, kind of opening week. We have a lot of kickoff classics coming up this week, and the FHSAA teams, SSAA gets going. But we are happy to have our first guest on the interview. We're going to go all the way over to the Panhandle from where we are, over to Pensacola area, and talk to Irish Bill Hamill. And, boy, I'm glad we start with you every year, it seems like, because it's good to see a familiar face there, Irish Bill. Good to see you.
It's good to see you again, Marty. Well, I smell the pigskin.
I know, right? It's all of a sudden, as Josh and I were saying, it's here. I mean, we're getting going again. And I guess the first question is, we were just talking about this a little bit. Navarre had a coaching change. Jay Walls moved on. And what do you think about the new coach there?
Well, you all know Coach Bagley's history as far as weightlifting coach at Navarre. 7 state girls, 1 for the boys. He's been an assistant at Navarre for the last 15 plus years. Is about as good as hire as they were going to get.
So
with this, what for Coach Bagley, what is he doing anything different than what Jay Walls did? I mean, I know there's got to be some differences because the coach wants to come in and he wants to put his fingerprints on the program now, from the previous coach. But obviously, you can't ignore that what Jay Walls did in over a decade there at Navarre. He put Navarre on the map.
He sure did. One thing, took the kids up to Old Church in Florida for a little bit of bonding session to get his footprint on the program. 3 days at a church camp out in the middle of nowhere. And this was something different that has been done. But one thing he's going to do is he's going to switch up to defense. Navarre's been running a 3-4 defense for as long as I can. They're going to a 4-2-5 this year because you saw in the last 2 games against Niceville and Bartram Trail, they could not stop the run. And plus, they were wearing their linebackers out. So he's switching up to a 4-2-5, which I should think, because that's going to be the best side of the Raiders this year is their defense as they return.
No, absolutely. And, with that said, if you can't compete against the run, you're not going to win some ball games, especially with the way the teams are up here along the I-10 corridor, all the way from Jacksonville to Pensacola, which usually consists mostly of, usually ends up being a lot of Region 1 on almost every single FHA classification. With that said, what is it going to take for especially a team in the further western reaches of the Panhandle where you're at, to get to a state championship game? Pensacola Catholic was knocking on the door. They almost had Bradford's number last year. And then, but a lot of people expect them to be really strong and really healthy this year.
I'm going to see them right over to Pensacola week 1. I see them over there Catholic with Ryan Huff at quarterback. He was last year into the pro. CJ Nelson, and they got 2 big backs over there that are just dynamite over there at Catholic. So I'm going to get to see them week 1, and I could see another big run out of Coach Adams and his Catholic Crusaders.
Yeah, that's I guess, as Josh said, that team really was close last year, Pensacola Catholic, to beating Bradford and getting to the state title game. So we'll see how that works out for them. Any other teams you're kind of looking at this year, Irish Bill, over there?
I think we're going to see a resurgence out of the Escambia Gators. Coach Mike Bennett has his quarterbacks in place. He's got one of the biggest weapons in the Panhandle with Darian Clardy. This guy is the worst defensive back. He can switch over and play offense as well. And they got 2 transfer quarterbacks in this year as well. So I think they're going to be pretty set, and I think we're going to see them in like week 4 or 5. So we dropped Pine Forest, but we pick up Escambia, and that's most area.
No, absolutely, and of course, just looking at Navarre's schedule alone, I mean, it's packed full of teams, that are playoff caliber. I mean, the only one that really, a lot of people talked about from last year that really was and should have been in the playoffs, and then probably would have been in the playoffs had the FHA been using the pretty much the straight up max preps rankings, and that was Pace. I mean, 8-2, and you're left out at sitting at home because some wacky things happened over on the other side of the region, and it left the Patriots home. And I know that this is probably for them. I get the sense, but I don't know. Maybe you can lean a little bit more onto this, Irish Bill. Pace, they're looking for a revenge tour this year.
Well, I think with their schedule is which allows for if they start with a team out of Montgomery, Mary Jo Montgomery, tough opponent coming into Pace. But Pace lost their top 2 quarterbacks. One transferred to Pine Forest, Nick Simmons, and the other one transferred over to Escambia. So they're going to be on their 3rd quarterback going into this season. And I got to see them in the spring a little bit. Their main weapons, they like to run the ball. Mickey Lindsay, when he was head coach, they loved the ground and pound. And so it's going to be interesting to see. But their defensively, they're going to be sound this year.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, well, what Josh was asking about the schedule for Navarre, but if you were to look ahead, is it kind of the same teams if you were to get into the playoffs? I know you always end up playing the teams over in St. Johns County, like Bartram Trail or St. Augustine. Are we looking at kind of similar to that?
I do. I mean, guys, what they had with Navarre last year is Bartram Trail, 67-55. No one anticipated that game on wet turf. But Bartram Trail, I look for them to do big things again. Their Buholtz is going to be strong now, especially with their coach back after he took a year off. So they're going to be. So I think Region 1 is going to be extra tough this year.
No, absolutely. Of course, yeah. You says, hey, Navarre Class 6A District 1, as you Jacksonville and Gainesville and St. Augustine take out Districts 2 and 3, with District 4, I believe, being the team that I would say I think is the one that people want to keep. I think it's Edgewater. I want to say for that one. So it definitely that region is going to be one to watch here as these teams get ready for the 2024 season. And is there anything else that we might want to kind of keep an eye on here, Irish Bill? You know, and what to expect with the rest of the Panhandle?
Well, unfortunately, real quick, 50-yard rush. He transferred over to Gainesville. He joins another Navarre transfer that for Walton Beach last year. E.J. Love, older brother Johnny Lewis, transferred to Niceville as well. Niceville is going to be strong again. Grant Thompson, what a program he's running there. He's only got 9 losses, I think, his 5 seasons at Niceville. He's doing one heck of a job there. But I like Choctaw as well. Also on Navarre's schedule in week 2. So there's no easy outs in the 6A here in the region.
Yeah, I think you start with Pensacola Catholic, right? Isn't that
that's usually always the season opener, usually most
game,
years.
Yeah. So, hey, right off the bat. But
here is after this District 1 is Tate High School. They got Tate Davis, their senior quarterback. He's going to be his 3rd year starting. They got a one for his name, but he is fascinating, he's electric, and Tate is going to be pretty strong. In fact, I wouldn't be Tate wins that District 1.
Yeah, I know that, and that was an interesting thing when I was doing the research for the sports media rankings that Irish Bill's taking part of it, where several of us as well, and we know that to Tate, 5-5 last year, but honestly, it was really interesting to think that I mean, if you've seen their rosters, you saw the photos of their teams a lot, and that was pushed out in the last week. You were wondering where's this been at the last few years, because Tate used to have those kind of numbers, and now all of a sudden those numbers are back again, and it's like, hey, you're gonna have varsity, JV, and you're gonna have freshman squad. So I mean, you take your pick of the choosing there.
Yeah, and they updated their scoreboards. Still older.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, with that said, I mean, Irish Bill, tell people where they can find you at, and what you got coming up for the season with your shows and broadcast.
Oh, we're going to start year 2 in a couple of weeks on August 28th. We're going back to Buffalo Wild Wings for the Navarre Raider Coaches Show. Tuesday nights will be my 10th year at Culver's. It's Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. Our Friday night broadcast, irishbillsports.com, Irish Bill Sports YouTube. I'll tell you, one thing nice is I don't charge my folks to come watch my shows or my games. I thank my advertisers for allowing that to happen, because more people that like free instead of breaking out the checkbook.
Well, yeah, we understand that.
Culver's, we gotta get our show over there. I gotta get some give me some good ice cream.
Often to come over to the Panhandle, but he has not taken up my offer yet.
I gotta get over there once things kind of situate out here. So,
but you and I both. I've got a cousin in Mobile I need to go see, so I got to get over there at some point in that area. But yeah, we'll look for your show as always, Irish Bill, and we'll look for Navarre throughout the season. I'm sure maybe we'll talk to you again when the playoffs come up.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks always.
No, we appreciate it. That was Irish Bill from Irish Bill Sports joining us here on the show here on the North Florida Blitz, and always good to hear from Irish Bill out there. I know we apologize if the audio, there was a little bit of issue audio, but I think it was some connection stuff, but there's nothing much we could do about it here tonight, but we'll make sure be going forward. We'll make sure that's situated.
Yeah, the Navarre Raiders, he's done that quite a few years there at Navarre, and he they played Gainesville High one year in the state semifinals.
My goodness, that was like
2012.
2012,
yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while, but they've come over to St. Augustine and played. They've come to Bartram and played. They end up in that same region. I don't know what you're laughing at but that.
Someone said they had Culver's for lunch, apparently.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I wish.
That's why I was laughing.
Culver's for lunch. Yeah, but anyway, we appreciate Irish Bill Hamill as always, a guy we've known for a long time there in the Panhandle, and we look forward to talking to him throughout the season. All right, our first interview of the North Florida Blitz is in the books. When we come back, we will have our first fan question and fan poll this season, and then we'll get to our pick six. We'll have 6 games to pick every week. We will get started with that after a 2-minute break here on the North Florida Blitz. There we go. And welcome back. We're live, so it's okay. North Florida Blitz, Marty Pallman, Joshua Wilson, has got about another 15 minutes left. Got plenty to get to here in our first show of the 2024 season. We again thank Irish Bill Hamill for joining us here in our interview portion of the show. But now we will move on to the fan question and fan poll of the week.
And we got some questions actually lurking around in our comments here, so we're
gonna a lot of comments in the show. We appreciate you guys.
So let's kind of got to nail with the fan poll of the week. Then we'll go to the fan question.
Okay.
How about that, Marty?
And this is something we talked about earlier. That sounds good to me, Josh. These teams, who has the best chance to win it all in 2024? As you can see, Bradford, Mandarin, Madison County, St. Augustine, or Trinity Catholic. All 5 of those teams were state runners-up in 2023. So can they get over the hump and win it this year? Go vote now on FloridaHSFootball.com/polls, POLLS polls, and put in your vote for that. And now, as you said, time for the fan question of the week.
We may have multiple questions here to sort through.
Looks like it.
we the chat has been running here, and we got our first comment here, question actually here from Christopher Like. What are some of the under radar teams in North Florida that could contend for a state title?
Well, under the radar, that's an interesting question, because I think we know the teams.
What color?
Yeah, and I don't know if Wakulla's under the radar almost anymore. They seem like they're always there, but I don't know. I think there's some of the usual suspects. I think in this area, Buholtz is another team to watch again. They're but always good, and they are. I mean, I think Williston again in the rural classification, but the only problem Williston has is, and the same is, they have to get past Hawthorne and Union County and a lot of.
But maybe really this is the year they get past Hawthorne.
That's true. We mentioned Newberry moved up to 2A. I think Newberry is going to be a team that's going to be really talented to watch now that they moved out of the rural classification. Heading over to Jacksonville, I know this is hard to say this team's under the radar, but Bowles, if you mentioned them a year ago, they went 5-5 in the regular season. They really did not have a good regular season, but they got hot in the playoffs, as they always do, made it to the state semis. I think Bowles again will be really a team to watch. Also out of St. Johns County, this is a team that's getting some pretty high ratings. Beachside, who has only been in 2 years. They were 9-1 last year against a still independent schedule. This year they joined the FHSAA in the district for the first time, and I think they're a team that's getting a lot of publicity.
No, absolutely, and maybe another team that maybe fun under the radar is Ponte Vedra.
Ponte Vedra, yeah, and The only issue that they've had is they've been in that region with Bartram and with Buholtz recently, and Buholtz knocked them out last year. So, and I'm interested to see how they play against St. Augustine in their kickoff classic this Friday. But Shauna is a team that is a really good home team, I can tell you. Another one, we'll see if Columbia can regroup. Not a great year for them last year. 4-6. Brian Allen now in his second year in his second stint, and they are a team that I think will do better than that this year. And another one, the same county, Fort White. Fort White's another team. Demetri Jackson now back though in the rural class as they got to get past all those other teams.
Well, yeah. Here's a story that is from Columbia. So Columbia's lost some players and transferred to Bradford. So.
Oh, to Bradford. So that'll be an interesting game this week.
Yes, and now this one came out per Jordan Kroger. This was published this morning at the Lake City Reporter. Jordan Kroger reports that Columbia quarterback Xavier Collins injured his knee in practice, waiting for test results. That happened Monday evening. So Columbia may. We're going to see what's going to happen. I mean, looking at their district, I believe it's Columbia, St. Augustine, and Ridgeview, and I want to say there's somebody else. It's 4 teams in that district, and this is not the kind of news you want to start out the season with. Obviously, having your starting quarterback go down.
No, and if they got St. Augustine in that region, or that district, that's going to be even tougher. But those are some of the teams. If you go look over in the Panhandle, we'll see if Baker comes back with Coach Brunson there. Bozeman has moved up, I believe, out of the rural class, right?
Yes, they have too.
They're a team I was going to say that can contend.
Freeport as well. They moved out. So there's been some teams that actually have moved out of the rural classification, and
right.
But there's been some teams that have added to the rural classification. So we will see what happens from there.
We will, and maybe one more Marion County Vanguard. Vanguard's not really under the radar, though. I mean, a team that made the state semis last year, lost to Mandarin, but a team that we usually expect is going to make a run in the playoffs, the Vanguard Knights. So, all right, well, now it is time for there goes the music. That means it's time for the pick 6 for week number 0.
Yes.
And we will start. These are all going to be SSAA games this week as they start week 1 on Friday night. First off, Interlochen and Christchurch out of Jacksonville. That game in Jacksonville on Friday night. Our friend Corey Davis will be there. Palatka Daily News covering that game. And, this is an interesting ball game. Christchurch has had a pretty good program through the years. We know Interlochen 2 years ago went unbeaten.
Yes, but last year, 2-8.
Yeah, last year they struggled a bit. But I'm going to say for this game, Interlochen gets it turned around. They win this game on the road.
I think so as well. And then the computer is saying, how about this?
That's not much. Yes, 6.
Interlochen 6.
And again, that's a road game, but you and I both are picking Interlochen, so we're going to go with the road team there. So we'll see if the computer is right, if we're right as well. And
there's no favoritism to the road or home team, by the way, in the computer ranking. It's just straight up analytical numbers.
Okay.
No, there's no favoritism to it.
I would think that'd be part of it. But yeah, that, like I said, makes a certain amount of sense. Speaking of that, our second game here, 2 more teams that we're really familiar with, or I am been familiar with. Now in the SSAA, West Nassau. That's a team that's had some really good runs in the playoffs in the FHSAA, but they have now gone to the SSAA. And then Paxton, we know the Golden Eagles in Jacksonville as well. I know West Nassau has been down a little bit. Paxton always up and down. I think I might go with West Nassau here, even though they're on the road.
No, I mean, you're going to go with West Nassau on the road? Well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just saying from past, history, but it's hard to know week 1. It really is, but I see.
It is hard because everybody's starting the season with a clean slate, and honestly, for me, West Nassau has had some struggles here the last couple of years. I mean, they've also had a coaching change in that stretch too, and Paxton they've been able to go up and down just a little bit, but Paxton was kind of in the middle of the road last year, and that's where I'm going with Paxton on this one. And the computer is going to say Paxton 7 over West Nassau.
It's not bad. Well, we'll see how that goes, but yeah, that's not a huge difference there. But Paxton, as you say, by 7. Yeah, the Golden Eagles, I believe they played Interlochen for that title a couple years ago.
Yes, for the SSA Atlantic League, which was only 4 teams back that year. So but
there was 2 of them.
This year it's actually 16 teams. So through year 3 of it, it's 16 teams.
There you go. All right, the next game, 2 more teams that have now joined SSAA. Umatilla, they're in there for the first time, hosting Stanton Prep out of Jacksonville, and that's a program that's really struggled through the years. Hopefully they're starting to get a little bit better in the SSAA. Boy, I just saw the number there. That's interesting. But I am going with the home team here. I'm taking Umatilla to win this game at home.
Well, the computer pretty much had this game sitting at a deadlock.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be that Stanton's rating is just a little higher than the thing. I know. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, for me, this is it's Umatilla's first game in the Sunshine State Athletic Association, and honestly, it's hard, but you know what? It's a toss-up, so this could go either way. But I'm gonna go. Actually, Marty. You may have persuaded me just because it's one of those toss-ups.
Yeah, that is. As you can see now, you put it up on your screen. It's
yeah, it's a 1 point. Yeah,
it's definitely a toss-up as we both go with Umatilla at home in that game. All right, moving along, we'll now take a trip out to the Panhandle for our fourth game. And this will be Rocky Bayou Christian out of Niceville, Lighthouse PCA. That is Lighthouse
Private Christian Academy. Right there in Pensacola.
Pensacola. Okay, that's right. So that's I'm not as familiar with that school, but
Rocky Bayou going in the SSAA after being in the FHA last couple of years.
Yeah, they have been, and I know it's a team O'Call's played a bunch of times here in Gainesville, but Lighthouse, not knowing. Tell me about their season last year.
They were kind of middle of the road. They were kind of, I want to say, the 4A bracket of the SSAA playoffs, which is actually the third highest playoff bracket they have there in the Sunshine State Athletic Association. Their schedule was definitely stronger. Rocky Bayou, I believe won like 4 or 5 games last year, but their strength of schedule this year, it's probably one of the ones that it's down on the bottom of this, and this is why part of the computer is probably thinking that
oh wow,
Lighthouse is gonna really win here.
Well, yeah, I'll go with Lighthouse at home anyway. That's about the only thing I was gonna see the difference. Although now that I look at the number, obviously as you'll pull that up in a minute, the computer obviously thinks Lighthouse is a big favorite, 38 in this game. So I guess we'll see if Rocky Bayou's first game they can play better than that against Lighthouse PCA.
Well, here we go. This is going to be another game that we are two teams we are very familiar with in our.
O'Call joins the SSAA as well, and they'll travel to Bell.
Well, they've been in SSAA the last few years.
I'm thinking of St. Francis.
Yes, which they are St. Francis, the other team in Gainesville that now joined.
Right, but O'Call and Bell. So this is now a SSAA. Bell, I believe, is new to the SSAA. They joined it last year. Okay, last year.
So.
All right. Well, either way, I'm gonna be I'm probably gonna be at this game Friday night. Covered it for Main Street Daily News. Bell at home, but I don't think that's gonna really matter. I think Coach Whittington, good guy, really like him. Had a little bit of a struggle last year at Bell. 2 years ago, they had a winning record.
Now the only thing here is that for O'Call, interim head coach this year.
Yeah, they
RJ Fuhrer went up to Union County. Now that they've had defensive coordinator up there.
The Brower is the head coach.
Yes.
Just for this year, they're going to have a national search after the year. But that being said, I think O'Call still they're more talented than Bell. They're going to win this game, I believe, on the road against the Bell Bulldogs.
Well, with that said, here's our thing, and the computer says O'Call 34.
Yeah, and I don't know if it'd be that much, but yeah, that's you see, we're both going with O'Call to win that game. So. That will be O'Call and Bell. Our final game, here's another one. Two teams that I know pretty well that have now in the SSAA, Bronson and Lake Weir. Lake Weir used to be in a district with Gainesville and had some really good vanguard through the years. Now they're in the SSAA. And they will host the Bronson Eagles, who now come in there as well. And tell you what, I'm going to go with the Hurricanes, not the Gainesville Hurricanes. The Lake Weir Hurricanes will win this game at home.
And I'm with you on that, but I think this is going to be a competitive game. In terms of the power rating, the teams are very similar in type. But Bronson, they've got a new head coach this year, Sean Holmes. He's kind of getting things ready and situated there to be able to build Bronson up. I mean, he's coming from Lake Howell over near the Orlando area. So Sean Holmes, coming out to rural Bronson, going to be a little bit of a different change of scenery, but he's fired up. He was fired up at media day, and he's excited about seeing what he can do with the Eagles.
I think he's going to do a really good job at Bronson. I like Sean Holmes. It may take a little while. It's always been a tough place to win, but we'll see how they're able to do in the SSAA. So that is it.
There you go.
There you go. Lake Weir by 7, so not bad, as you said, pretty competitive. Both Josh and I will take Lake Weir at home.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so that is your pick 6 for this opening week on the North Florida Blitz. Again, those are all SSAA games. FHSAA games get underway next Thursday and Friday the 22nd and 23rd. And our final thoughts?
Well, actually, Marcus said, is it like, you know what? Gulf Breeze, but I know they have several locations, and they listed as Pensacola in the early start. But yeah, you're right, Gulf Breeze, so not very far away. So right there over the bridge.
Right.
Right there over the bridge, and we definitely appreciate everybody
for setting us straight there, Marcus.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate that.
Looks like we had a few more comments. And,
yes. Some people are just commenting in the chat, and it's like, oh, well, Charles Bell, who usually would watch and talk about Lakeland, and he's a big Lakeland Dreadnought fan. So how you guys doing? It's been a while. Good to see you guys again. Good to see you guys are good, healthy, and I believe another year of high school football is upon us. So yes.
Yeah, healthy for the most part. I'd say better than I was. So yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. But and so now, as you say, for the final thoughts, Josh, well, I'm going to say we said this a lot, but I'm just glad to have football back. It's game week finally.
It is game week, but it will be big game week next week when we come back and talk about it, because it's week 1, and after that, it's really at that particular point, it is hey, it's all downhill from there. It's determined who's gonna go play for a state championship, and we go from August to December.
Yeah, we start in August when it's 100 degrees out, and we ended.
It definitely was 100. It definitely felt like it was 100 degrees out.
And then we ended December. We're in Tallahassee last year. I think it was 30 degrees the first morning. I know we were freezing the first day. It was cold there, but
I was waiting for it to snow, baby.
I know that's where it would snow. We'll see where the FHSAA finals are this year too in December, but that's a long way off. We got a long season to get through first, and then the postseason. So we will talk about that throughout the year. But that's going to do it for our first edition of the North Florida Blitz. We hope you enjoy your kickoff classics, your regular season games starting this week. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday, once again 8:30. And you have been watching the North Florida Blitz here on X and Twitter, also on Instagram and on Facebook as well, and YouTube.
Yes, YouTube. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Florida HS Football and click that notification bell. Also, download the app. Hit that QR code and download the app, the FloridaHSFootball.com app. Take it with you anywhere you go during the entire 2024 season.
All right, I'm Marty. He's Josh.
Yes.
And say goodnight, Josh.
Good night. Oh, wait, real quick. Hold on. The interlocking head coach, Eric Gibson. Yes. Yeah, okay. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Coach.
Yeah, good luck this week, Coach. All right, that's it. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, good night.